Hi, I wanted to demonstrate how I use just a simple wash on a floral motif. I'm calling it a motif. It's really a sketch. I used my black brush pen and I just doodled my cherry blossoms onto this watercolor paper. It's Canson. It's actually a Canson watercolor sketchbook. And I thought, well, that should be fun. And so now I'm ready for my wash. And if you are new to doodling or new to sketching with a brush pen, dry it out first. Try a couple of different ones before you know what you like, and then you are ready to go to actually draw it. It takes a little bit of practice, but once you get it, I think it's really worth just being able to doodle and draw. So give it some time. I love how my brush strokes are thin and thick around here and around here, and it's just a really fun time. Okay, so I'm doing what I would call a variegated wash. I'm not just going to put water all over. I'm going to be very strategic to let you know where my mind's going. I want a little bit of yellow in the center, right here and right here. I don't know if I'm going to put yellow right there or not. I'm going to at least put a light alizarin crimson right here. So I got new Gamboge for the center, and then a very light alizarin crimson for the buds. And then I'm going to add just a tiny bit of green in here, and then the rest is going to be sky, like it's going to be a light turquoise. So that's where I'm leading with it, so you know. And I'm going to start with, because this is archival ink, I can really wet it and it's not going to go anywhere. But there's my three main flowers. I'll do a little bit here too. I'm going to add just a tiny bit. I don't want to go too overboard at the beginning. I feel like that is probably just enough. I'm going to soak up some of this with my paintbrush because I don't want it to overpower much. I still want my line work to be the center. This is just a nice art motif that I could probably give to a friend or something. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and lightly paint those petals. I did blow my paper off a little bit because I don't want any yellow brush crystals if I can get away with it. And again, I am adding, once you get the line work done, the wash is pretty simple to work on. And I'm okay if the water is soaking into the paper a little bit, because I don't want, whoops, sorry, trying to get too close to my painting. Alright, and then sometimes I have to move it around to make sure I got water everywhere I wanted it to. Now I can gently, when I say gently, I like lightly, very lightly, one or two taps per flower is all you need. I don't necessarily want it to overpower anything. And I might even not do the green. I really want it to look loose and beautiful. So now I'm taking a damp brush. I dipped it in my water, dipped it in my towel, and it's just damp. I'm just adding to it, and then I'm going to take away some because I don't want any. I feel like sometimes I have to be it's like a race against the clock sort of thing. So if you want to do one petal at a time, that is fine. I'm okay with it bleeding because it is Brusho and I do want it to be loose, but maybe I don't need it to be that loose. So I add water and then I take it away as fast as I add it. It's a very not a very productive way of painting, but I do get a nice loose beautiful look to it that maybe otherwise I wouldn't. And I could use some bleach to take away some of the pigment, but I really don't want to. Like, that's my last resort, you guys. Again, it's a wash. It's gonna look, I want it to look like a wash. I love that purple right there. Oh, Alizerian crimson never lets me down. Makes me happy. Again, and I'm gonna move that all the way out because I still want to add my turquoise to the top of it. And I'm okay if this pink is getting too much. I can always soak it up with my brush. Because there's a chance I want to add a little bit of green over here just to tone down the pink. I want the pink to be the most vibrant. And then I want just a hint of turquoise at the very end. But you can see it's very loose, very fluid. It does take practice. Once you get water on, you can erase whatever you want with water and your brush. So, because I know that that's going to cause an issue. I'm just going to wipe it up now so it's done and out of the way. I think a lot of it is just getting to know your Brusho and what it can do and what you want it to do. A lot of times, if you just sit down and play and let Brusho do its gorgeous Brusho thing, you're going to be much happier with it. Whoo, I am loving this. Now I'm just going to wet the background because I still want that pink to flow in through the background. This is looking awesome. I'm so excited. Alright, I'm going to start with a tiny bit of green, and if I was probably smarter, I would probably use a dry brush and sprinkle it on, but I also feel pretty confident in my Brusho ability. So I'm just going to lightly tap where I think I want some green. And again, I got most of the Brusho. I'm going to take my smaller brush. This is a size 8 because I really want to add some of that green, but I don't necessarily. And at this point I'm going to use 2 brushes. One's a smaller one, one's a lighter one. And I am going to use, I still want, I want it to look loose and fluid, but I don't necessarily want the green to get too much into the pink. But I do want it to kind of seamlessly look like it was just done without thinking about it. I think that's going to dry just light enough that you're not going to see that line. There. I'll give it a second to sit in. And I think I might add just a tiny bit. Now this is olive green. Olive green is a very dark green, you guys, so don't do too much. I'm going to let that just bleed out. I think that's going to give it a nice texture look to it. I'm not quite sure. That's olive green too. So I'm going to add just a tiny bit of green right up here. I don't want to, again, my plan is to not I'm just trying to make this look, maybe that's a nice little leaf. It looks like a good leaf. Looks like looks like it could be a leaf, or it could just be our imagination. Either way, it does not matter. It can be. I'm gonna blur that side out a tiny bit. And I'm going to blend that so it looks like it's just gone. There, I like that. I'm not loving this line either, so I'm going to blend that out too. Move that. And now this is when you want a bigger brush, but I don't have a bigger brush in my hand, so I'm just going to use what I got. Alright, there. I think that's going to blend out nice. Now, now because I'm not done yet, I really like this white space right here, and I love how this pink is swooshing out. It's looking really good right now, but I'm going to do what Jean Haynes is a wonderful watercolor artist, and I love her books, and I totally recommend her books. She does this thing called lock in the light, and wherever you want light, or wherever you want maybe a little bit more contrast, you go around with water, and then you can add watercolor. But because we're using Brusho, I'm going to do that now. Sometimes I do have to tilt my paper to see where I put that, but I know it's around here, so I'm just going to add some. A little bit goes a long ways. If you are not liking the values on your paper, it's probably most likely because you added too much Brusho and not enough water. And maybe I like Brusho too because I can add that splattery look and get a really cool look. I love turquoise for skies. And I just want to give it a suggestion. I'm not in it to say here's a sky. I'm going to dab this up with a paper towel. Let it sit on the paper for just a little bit. And then I'm going to dab most of it up because I really just want a hint of blue. Now I'm going to go back in. I'm going to fix these lines because I really don't want harsh lines if I can help it. Dab in a little bit more. And then I think I will do a little bit more right along this edge. And I'm going to get a different brush. This is an Escoto Rigger brush, and it holds a lot of water, and it's just absolutely phenomenal. Okay, now I'm going to add just a tiny bit more turquoise. Like, just a little bit, guys. And if you don't like the turquoise, by all means, it's your painting. You don't have to. I will often have 3 different, you don't have to add the turquoise if you don't like it. And this way I can add a little bit, maybe more layers, just to say it's whatever you want. If you like it without the turquoise, keep it without the turquoise. I'm going to go ahead and blot because I'm pretty sure I don't need all that pigment on my paper at the moment. And then whatever extra blue I might have, I'm just going to swish it down here. And I did put Brusho on here and it didn't set yet, so it's moving a little bit. That's okay, I'm not worried about that. And then I'm going to leave this to be just kind of open space. And I think I'm done. Isn't that lovely? I had fun. This has been a great demo. I hope this helps. Now, if you really wanted to, I always like to add a little bit of iridescent, but I think I'm going to leave it alone. I really want it to just look artsy without any iridescent qualities to it. But there you go. That's how I use a wash with one of my sketches. I can't wait to share you some of my ways that I draw these flowers, but I wanted to show you, before we get too much involved with the drawing aspect, how much fun Brushos and ink could be. See you soon for how I draw certain flowers.